All beings need to be established in the awakening of omniscient Buddhahood. Needless to say that this, of course, is the attitude that we should have at heart. And with this attitude at heart, commonly known as bodhicitta, let us now listen to the following instructions. The next chapter, or Psalm 6, begins with the exclamation, Emaho, how wonderful, or far out, as someone suggested many years ago. And it goes on to say, nowadays there are many who give the briefest of instructions, and accordingly there are many who know just about the bare basics. Basically that says it all. As we all know, there are many teachers nowadays, at the time of Kamachaka as well as today, who by all means give brief instructions, teach the bare bones, so to speak, the bare basics, but do not have the ability to teach anything in depth, because in all likelihood they themselves lack that knowledge. Accordingly, there are many students who also know just the bare basics, nothing more than that. They may have heard of the preliminary practices, they may have heard that it is necessary to reflect about death and impermanence and how difficult it is to achieve a well-favored human birth, etc., and so forth. But there are few who know anything more than that. There are few teachers who teach anything more than that, and there are few students who know anything more than that, because to really go into detail with these teachings, to teach them, to understand them, for that matter, in depth, is indeed difficult. On it goes in that verse, saying, those, the aforementioned ones of course, are the ones who are delighted by the appearances of this life, yet impermanence and death have not penetrated to their heart. So as we have heard, there are indeed many who are able to teach the bare basics, to merely scratch the surface, so to speak, yet are not able to give any in-depth instructions, to take it any further. And accordingly, there are many who have heard such instructions, possibly many times, and who therefore believe they really know what this is all about. And happily ever after, they go about their lives, basically not really knowing anything much for that matter, they find themselves under the influence of the perceptions of whatever it is that might happen to them in their lives, pleasant visual appearances or sounds, tastes, touch, whatever, and they happily ever after believe that everything is well and fine just as it is. Yet the idea of impermanence being eventually upon them, and death going to be upon them eventually, does not penetrate to the heart at all. They continue with their lives as if nothing was ever going to happen, and the simple truth of impermanence and death goes completely unheeded. Accordingly, it goes on to say, those who have gained mere knowledge, or of those who have gained mere knowledge, there are many. Which means to say, again, having heard such basic instructions, there are many who truly believe that this is all there is to know, this is all there is to be done, and they really believe that they have understood it all, that they know it all now, and go happily and go about their lives happily ever after without ever penetrating to the core. Such individuals who continue in that vein, they miss the precious chance of putting teachings into practice, of strengthening and deepening their understanding. And particularly the truth of death and impermanence simply does not penetrate to their heart. They spend their lives in the erroneous belief that they've understood it all, that they have full knowledge of everything that needs to be done, and basically pass up the chance or the opportunity of furthering themselves by deepening, by furthering their understanding by way of penetrating through the surface and understanding the actual crux, the actual core of the teaching.
Ein bisschen ausruhen, üben.
There are indeed those who have requested many instructions, but have become ever more hard-headed. Those do not shy away from deeds, and their conduct is worse than even that of the most ordinary. accordingly, indeed, there are those who have heard many instructions, who have received many instructions, requested them from various teachers, gone here and there and everywhere, and have accumulated a great deal of knowledge. Yet, they are utterly untouched by whatever it is they have learned. Nothing of the vast knowledge that they have accumulated has penetrated through the heart. And even though they can recite all sorts of teachings and quote from all sorts of sources, the meaning of these teachings has not penetrated at all. The actual meaning has not been understood, is not being implemented. And indeed, such people often, when they hear teachings, when they sit and receive further teachings, they have such thoughts of all that talk about the hell realms and the hungry ghost realms, etc., yada, yada, yada. I've heard it all before, what use is that? Or if people are being told by the teachers that they should train themselves in the enlightened attitude of the Bodhisattvas, give rise to compassion, give rise to the accumulation of merit, they go, yeah, I've heard all of that, but what's the point of all of that? This is a sure sign that whatever it is they have heard so many times, whatever it is they might even have memorized and can possibly even quote, haven't understood anything of it at all. So the mere accumulation of knowledge is of not much point. And such people, often we can see, do not shy away from behaving even more base than the basest among us, not even behaving as ordinary as the most ordinary Dharma person or Dharma practitioner, but they behave in ways even more ordinary, even worse than the most ordinary of people who have never ever heard of the Dharma. So in that way, whatever knowledge they have accumulated is, at least up to that point, totally useless. However, those aforementioned jaded individuals are rather expert in finding fault with others who are receiving instructions. And however that might be, and that may be, when they themselves pretend to put things into practice, they do so without renunciation whatsoever, which is said to be the feat of meditation. So these individuals we've heard about, who have learned oh so much, and who have memorized oh so much, and who are able to quote from all sorts of scripture, yet into whose hearts any of the teachings that they have learned by heart have not at all penetrated. They're very good at pointing out the faults and mistakes of others. They might come across someone and say, "Didn't I see you receive on request teachings on the enlightened attitude yesterday? Didn't you? And didn't I see you later fight with someone? Now how does that go together?" Far from seeing their own faults, they're very efficient in pointing out the faults of others, yet are totally blind to their own. Which is further proof that whatever they have learned, whatever they have memorized, whatever they're able to quote from scripture, etc. and so forth, has not penetrated to the core at all. And they are of the type who, when they pretend to practice, do so without any renunciation whatsoever. Renunciation here means that we have understood that all of the various things in life, such as praise and glory, fame, etc., and so forth, are utterly useless. And we have understood that there's no point in hankering after them whatsoever. And it is said that such renunciation, the understanding of the pointlessness of worldly fame, influence, etc., and so forth, has no true lasting value. It is said that this understanding is the very basis for meditation, or as it is literally called in the text, the feet or the legs of meditation, that which makes us begin or allows us to begin with successful meditation practice. So without any such renunciation, without such a basis for successful meditation practice, they pretend to practice, yet of course don't get anywhere with that. These people, the aforementioned ones, are like those who have knowledge of the road, yet do not travel it, and so fail to see the Jo, etc. The Jo is the most sacred Buddha statue in all of Tibet, to which almost everybody pilgrimages once in their lives. And the analogy that is being used here is of people who live right next to the Jo, who know full well how to go and see the Jo, but never ever do so. It's people who have knowledge of the path and the direction they should take, yet don't ever do so. They know of the road, they know of the path, they have been taught how to travel the path, but they don't ever set one foot in front of the other in order to begin the journey. Needless to say, that this is of course utterly useless. If one has such knowledge and doesn't make use of it, one might just as well not have that knowledge. The same effect would accrue, which is none. It is just as if you were living in India, in Bodh Gaya, the Vajrasthi, where the Buddha has achieved enlightenment, and you would know full well where the temple is and where the tree is under which he achieved enlightenment, yet you would never go there. So clearly, having simply accumulated knowledge, yet making no use of that knowledge and understanding that derives thereof, is of course utterly useless, is wasted time, is wasted opportunity. Only if you travel the path that has been pointed out to you will the various qualities, the various insights and realizations that occur along the path occur. If you do not travel the path, if you have just accumulated the knowledge, yet do not traverse that path, yet do not begin with the journey and take it ever further, it is as if you had never ever heard any teachings, any instructions whatsoever, utterly useless, a waste of time.
Jitin Sawa Pamuku, Jitin Sawa, Nyonin Sitting Pumps, Jitin Sawa, Druju, Tedon Nonton Naran Nyonia, see, Nyonin from Jitin Sawa, take the scene and a gong, yes, on Bonapton.
It goes on to say there are three kinds or three levels, for that matter, of ability. The very best, medium, and least. This pertains to the different types of practitioners and whatever ability or capability they are endowed with. And it goes on then to say that the best among those do not have to abandon worldly activities, however they practice by way of blending their practice and understanding of Dharma with whatever worldly activities they go about. This is, of course, the kind of practice that is suited only for those who are endowed with the greatest of courage, with the greatest of diligence, the greatest of endeavor, who have fully made the resolve to suffuse their life with the meaning of Dharma, with the influence of Dharma to the very best of their ability. Those who are endowed with this great ability, this great courage, they do not need to abandon whatever worldly activities they have to perform. They can blend their practice with such worldly activities. Those have no need to abandon pleasures, but can use them as a means on the path. Those are comparable to the king Indrabhuti. Which means to say that those individuals who are endowed with the greatest capability, with the greatest courage, the greatest, the strongest resolve, they have no need to abandon whatever sensory pleasures they might have in their lives. They do not need to train themselves in abandoning all of these things, because they have the wherewithal to integrate whatever it is they experience in their lives as a means on the path, as a means of furthering their practice. And being able to do so, they are comparable to the ancient king Indrabhuti, who, as we know, did likewise.
Sherab Why with videotapes being changed, we might use that very rare occasion to relax a little. Those of you who feel all too tense might occasionally move your head to the left or right, let it
fall on your chest. Those of you who feel sleepy might just straighten their bodies and look up into the sky in order to revive themselves. Just to say that opportunity has passed, so listen up now because the videotape has been changed several minutes ago, and on with the story. King Indrabhuti is the one whom we know to have been a king in a northern Indian place a long time ago, and as he was sitting in his park in the garden, enjoying himself in the company of his retainers, his consorts, a couple of ministers, and all likelihood would have been there as well, sat there enjoying himself and all of a sudden beheld a rather strange phenomenon. There was a whole bunch of yellow-clad people flying about the sky. Heretofore unseen air traffic, of course, greatly astounded the king, and as they had passed from one corner of the sky to the other, he just couldn't believe it, and he asked his retainers and ministers, who were these people? Everybody was just scratching their heads and scratching their chins and going, oh, maybe, no. They were, maybe I better don't say a thing. No one really knew anything, except one very old minister who then eventually came to the fore, who was asked and who said, these people, O king, who we've just seen were arhats. They are students of the great master, the Buddha, who have attained mastery, and as a byproduct of their mastery, they have miraculous powers, such as flying through the sky. The king was completely dumbstruck by this, and he thought, I want to learn this art. So if these are being taught by, if the means to bring about such miraculous ability are being taught by the Buddha, by all means I have to invite this master here. How do I go about that? And again, he was advised by this old minister, what you need to do in order to invite the Buddha is to arrange a great feast of offerings. The greatest offerings that you can think of, beautiful flowers, scents, foods, perfumes, etc. and so forth. Whatever is precious, whatever is dear to the heart needs to be arranged in one vast offering. And then you simply need to pray to the Buddha. You need to pray to him with the words of the likes, great omniscient one, who is in the know of everything. You who are the protector of all beings, not a single one excluded. For the sake of all beings, please come to this place. And this way the king was instructed how to go about to invite the Buddha. The great offering was arranged. The Buddha was then, with the corresponding words, supplicated, and he did indeed appear in the presence of King Indrabhuti. The Buddha appeared with his great retinue of many arhats, many of his students who had already achieved the fruition of their practice, and he came to that place. The king then went in front of the Buddha and said to him, "O Buddha, I have seen those students of yours who know the art of flying about in the sky, so you clearly have given them an instruction which has enabled them to do so. Please also grant such an instruction to me." The Buddha said, "Yes, I can do that. The first thing that you need to do in order to receive such instructions is take the full monastic ordination of a bhikshu, of a fully ordained monk upon you." The king himself, of course, was aghast. He said, "No way, ever. I so much like my sensual pleasures, I just cannot give them up. So please teach me a means that does not require me to give up these sense pleasures, that does not require me to take ordination upon myself, yet that still enables me to bring about these miraculous abilities. The Buddha said, okay, also that can be done. And he then, as we know, manifested himself in the form of the awareness aspect of Sri Guhyasamaja, one of these many tantric deities. In that form, having manifested in this form, he then explained the Tantra of Guhyasamaja, he gave the empowerments, the reading transmissions, the liberating instructions on the practice of Guhyasamaja. And it is said that both the king as well as his entire court of ministers, retainers, etc. and so forth, truly achieved the full awakening of realization of Buddha within a single instant.
And Dharma and Dharma, the community, and community, number Roth, Tenga, Parsaman, Dharma, and Dharma, Lambo, Kolbo, Tenga, and Parsaman, Banyansolam, and Isamba, Yanga, and then say it to La Papa, because Tenga Yalin Germany. Tartula, and Dharma and Dharma, Darkam, Tenila. Matini Meva, Tongi, then Yalin Germany, and it's on you come from Topsona, and you can load you. Yes.
The Jabu Indrabhuti Ki, then Rangi Kola, then the Labaro.
Body, I was from G, Jabu and Dumbo, Galatuki, but not what? Ages of any Jabu and Dumbo to Korong, Messi Tongila. That is one they don't know.
Technically, things went about in such a way that after King Indrabhuti had requested these instructions and transmissions from the Buddha, at first he himself received them from the Buddha. He then practiced, he trained himself in the Tantra and the meditations of Guhyasamaja until he himself had achieved the full realization thereof. And then he eventually taught Guhyasamaja, again, the transmission of the Tantra, empowerments, etc., and so forth, to his retainers, to the ministers, the subjects, the people living in his kingdom, and whoever else there might have been. It is said that all of these people then practiced so diligently that eventually at the end of their lives, they all together, including the king, they all together achieved what is known as the rainbow body, and in this way demonstrated their having achieved the full awakening of Buddhahood. The story goes to say that at the very same time when all of these people, all of these practitioners, including the king, etc., had achieved realization, the entire kingdom from one moment to the next became empty. As it is, we all find ourselves, to a greater or lesser degree, in the situation that we cannot just let go of everything and practice the Dharma exclusively. The vast majority of us have to go about their livelihoods in one way or the other, and in this way we are entangled in all sorts of worldly activities of which we cannot, and for some part also do not want to rid ourselves. In this way we need to train ourselves accordingly, and the fewest among us will be able to practice like, for instance, Milarepa did, leaving everything behind, going off into the wilderness and practicing until realization, practicing until awakening is achieved. So rather more we have to make do with what we have at hand, which is a rather ordinary worldly life that we try to suffuse with the information of Dharma to the very best of our ability. And if things go right, if we do it properly, then indeed this Dharma information and whatever practice we manage to do in the course of our lifetimes will eventually be useful. Particularly when impermanence will be fully and irretrievably upon us, which means when death will be upon us. Because as we know, the only thing that really helps when death is about to overtake us is whatever Dharma we have learned, is whatever Dharma we have put into practice, for that matter, at that particular time. Nothing other than that will be of much avail. The most important thing, the most useful thing that we could possibly do with our lives while we're still alive is to familiarize ourselves to the very best of our ability with the basic nature of mind or consciousness, for that matter. This practice is commonly known as the practice of Mahamudra. The Mahamudra practice is exactly that which has been explained, or which Rinpoche has begun to explain, which is being formally divided into two sequences. There we have, first we have meditative absorption, and then we have post-meditation. Meditative absorption, of course, is the part of the practice during which we actually sit on our cushion, wherever, and train ourselves in meditation. Post-meditation is whatever comes after the formal meditation session, whenever we go about the ordinary activities of our lives, whatever they might be. When we train ourselves in meditative absorption, as we have heard in detail yesterday, we might experience one of three, or possibly in the course of a single session, all three different states. We might experience a state of mind that is devoid of any mental activity, that is totally quiescent, totally tranquil, totally at rest. That is the part, or that is the part of the practice that is known as stillness. Or we might at other times experience mind to be rather more active, there to be many thoughts, lots of mental activity, memories, and whatever it might be that pops up in our minds at any given moment. This is called movement. And the third aspect that comes into play here is the being aware of either of these states. If there is nothing in particular going on in our minds, if it is tranquil, if it is quiet, if it is restful, then we're simply aware of that. We're simply conscious of that particular aspect, or that particular way of mind or consciousness manifesting itself. If there is mental activity going on, thoughts, ideas, memories of whatever sort there might be, then again we simply train ourselves in being aware of that fact without any further ado, without any further attempt of altering the state of mind in any which way. So we might experience stillness, we might experience movement, or we might simply experience being aware of either of these two. That is for the most part what is happening during the formal meditation session. And then we have post-meditation, which covers basically everything that does not happen on the meditation cushion. We might be going about our daily activities, we might go to work, we might be walking or standing or eating, drinking, sleeping, whatever it might be. It might go about any of the activities of daily life. And also during these, we ought to train ourselves to the very best of our ability to remain aware, to remain conscious of whatever it is we do. Whether we eat or drink, whether we talk to someone, whether we walk from point A to point B, or whatever it might be, also during these post-meditative activities, we're called upon to train ourselves in being aware, to the point of being utterly undistracted by anything other than simply being aware of what it is that we do at any given moment. So this is basically the most vital point to both during meditation practice as well as during post-meditative activities, train oneself in undistracted awareness of whatever it is that is going on at any given moment. And this is what we call the practice of Mahamudra. Through such practice, eventually the understanding and insight into the very nature of mind, the very nature of consciousness will come about. If we were to have practiced like this throughout the duration of our lives, then we truly would have practiced Mahamudra. Since we're here already, let us use the present moment to experience whatever it is that might be going on within our minds at this moment, be it stillness or be it movement.
try over there. And then, Norway, so many, Munyan by taking, no good to go to, and that the 6 1, 20, this one do. And I think David our symbol, Tom Killer, Thomas, and you get 100.
There's no time for questions in the present sessions. However, there will be time in the afternoon to ask whatever it is that you might ask. Let us now conclude the session with the dedication of the merit that has been accumulated here. Let us particularly think of those people who a few days ago have been killed in Norway. You might have heard the news. Close to 100 people were killed by some madmen. Let us dedicate our merit particularly to those, so that also whatever merit they may have accumulated will come to good fruition.